president. I pay the president's island. I pay the bills of his family. And he must protect me.
Standpoint. The center of all talks of politics.
Standpoint, Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. on Rapid 96.5 FM, Umahia.
More Nigerian is more Nigerian than any Nigerian. That's right.
It's a beautiful, beautiful Monday morning, just about 7 minutes past the hour mark of 10, and you are listening to the lineup of programs on the sound of your city, Rapid 96.5. And this is Standpoint. I am Nkamiang John, the beloved, known to many as the controversial, or formerly the controversial. Can't run away from the controversial nature once in a while. But this morning, it promises to be another interesting discourse, another interesting conversation, as we have in the studio a very delectable lady, a woman of substance, a woman who, in her own pursuit for justice, liberty, and of course the betterment of Abians, and particularly her constituency, has decided to rub shoulders in a game that is predominantly played by men. And today we will be looking at some conversations that has already been had. She was part of the senatorial candidates who were on the debate panel last week Friday, if I remember correctly, and she kind of rattles the hornet's nest a bit, and we decided that it would be good to give her the platform once again to not just only galvanize support in the build-up to the elections, but also create the opportunity for her to engage more her members of her constituency. This morning, I have the honor and the pleasure of having with me in the studio Barrister Carol. Yes, Barrister Carol. Barrister Carol, it's great to have you this morning, and happy new week.
Thank you very much.
Right, now let's get down to brass tacks. I know you've been probably asked this question maybe a million times.
Yeah.
Why did you choose to go into politics? Considering the fact that politics is always termed to be a game for the male folk. And there's always that notion that because of the kind of political terrain we have, particularly here in Nigeria, that it's not a game that women or any woman should partake in. What's your motivation to now decide to get into the ring with this political men or political giants as they see themselves?
You see, I thank you very much. I come from a political family. My grandmother has always been president or president of most of her organizations, CWO, the village women, and all that. My mother was also involved in party politics.
Wow.
She was the only woman from then Anambra State who was on President Chagare's campaign team in '83. My younger brother was chairman of our local government. He had a local government at a time, went on to the House of Reps and represented our Ihara federal constituency. So I come from that kind of a family and that kind of a background.
So it runs in your DNA?
Yes, it does run in our family. And I have been involved too with caring for people, being president here and secretary there of CWO, being in the church, in my parish, for instance. In my parish, I'm the patron. In Umuahia, I'm a patron of CWO. I've always had leadership roles to play, and so learn to care for people from time immemorial. And people see me as a tomboy because I like doing the things that men do.
Wow.
Because most times I do what men do and I try to do it better.
How do the men react to this nature of yours, consistently wanting to compete with the men, and not just compete but outdo the men?
You see, most men don't like it, I must confess. But somebody like my husband encourages me a lot.
He must be a man with a very large heart.
Yes, he's a man that is quite different from most men. Most men would not want their wives to outshine them. But this one, who is a professor, by the way, and a vice chancellor at one stage, likes pushing me up, so to say.
So he doesn't have any reservation with you going into politics?
He does not have. As a matter of fact, the first time I ventured into elective office was when I ran for House of Assembly, chairmanship of Arochukwu local government, immediately after my retirement in 2002. And he personally stood up, wrote up all my manifesto.
Wow.
He did so much for me that I didn't have to do much at that time. And he will come to his place, and I'm not from Arochukwu by birth. He will take me and we'll go from one place to the other, introducing me to his people.
Wow.
So he's been very encouraged.
You've just possibly encouraged some women who have been looking for motivation to also toe the line you have toed. And I'm sure you've also encouraged some men who want to support their wives in whatever pursuit they're pursuing. But let's look at your current pursuit.
Yes.
To represent the people of Arochukwu.
Not Arochukwu, Abia North.
Abia North, I beg your pardon. Abia North at the Senate. Why are you so confident, considering if we go back to what played out when you were here last week?
Yeah.
You have somewhat of a juggernaut in the person of Mao. You have a very resilient young man in the person of Ultimate Commander Osita Ofor. What gives you the confidence to think you will be able to upset this men of timber and calibers, we like to call them, especially in the political arena?
Okay. You see, Mao, that you called, have been in the system for quite long. And I don't think he has much to show for it. Or the people have much to show for it, at least according to the electorate. I'm not now the judge. I'm not sitting on judgment over anybody. He was in House of Reps for 8 years and then went and represented Abia North in the Senate for 4 years.
4 years.
His Excellency, Ojo Zokal, was the governor of this state for 8 years. And thereafter, because it's now a common thing in Nigeria that once you are a governor, you go to the Senate, which shouldn't be anyway. He went to Senate and was there for 4 years. And I want to ask, are people of Abia North complaining less than they did when these two people were in Senate? Represented them. And meanwhile, the campaign organization of Mao, for instance, have been telling the electorate every reason why Ojo Zokalu should not be elected. His campaign team, not me. I'm just reading, like every other Nigerian or every other every other person in the constituency.
Yes.
Meanwhile, the camp of Senator Ojozo has also been telling us every reason
why
Mao must not go. You understand? So, as a judge, it is left for the electorate to know now, if this person cannot go and this person cannot go, then why don't we allow a woman to go? Just like what is happening with the national. Tinubu and his camp are busy telling us why Atiku should never be made president.
Yes.
And they are giving us good reasons, sound reasons, which people confirm are true. Same is happening with Atiku. He is telling us everything about Tinubu and why an old, sick person should not be allowed to rule us. True things. And we are taking note. So they should all go and retire and stay out of this country. Stay out of the policies of this country, the two of them, because the reasons that are adduced, the reasons that Nigerians are being told are very, very right. So the same thing has played out in Abia North. And since there are true reasons, then why don't I feel confident to go, since I know I can make the difference?
Wow. Okay. Your constituents.
Yes.
You seem to be very close to your constituents. If you get into the Senate, what would be your first legislative assignment? What would be the immediate issue you would tackle in Abia North?
I did mention that the last day I was here.
Yeah.
Insecurity. Because you need to be alive to farm before the things are destroyed. You need to be alive to be able to go to school. You need to be alive to do anything. So in Abia North, the insecurity is just too much.
So what would be your, how would you hit the ground running to tackle this subject of insecurity in Abia North?
There are certain legislations that have been put up which should not be. This Roga issue, people should go, like I mentioned it to that last time, people should do cattle rearing in ranches. That's what civilized people were doing years back. So why should we be allowing cattle to roam in these farms in Abia North, destroying these things? I must put up a legislation. I must suggest, I must present a bill, I must sponsor a bill to bring an end to that kind of rubbish.
But do you realize that the dynamics of pursuing certain legislations that are not so popular, quote and unquote,
yes,
demand lobbying amongst your fellow senators, demand doing the unthinkable,
yes,
if need be? Are you prepared to toe that line? Because it seems that those who currently are in the Senate that have been able to bring such results, positive results to their people and their constituents, are people who are daring, to say.
I am a very daring person. I told you I'm always taken as a tomboy. But again, in addition to being daring, I also have that manipulative gift.
Wow.
Of being a lobbyist, a very good lobbyist, and being a woman. By the time I saw speak you into things that you might not want to do, I lobby very well, and I think by the grace of God, I will get along, and I make friends easily. So I am sure that when I get into the Senate, I'll be able to have a lot of them as friends and be able to get what I want.
Now, it's evident that because of your disposition, being a patron of the CWO, having been involved with women groups,
yes,
across your constituency, naturally it seems the women are on your side.
Yes.
Good. But what about the young people? Because as we speak, we are at the verge of an election that could be historic for the youths and the young people, the next generation, so to say, because some Nigerians believe that this election will determine the fate of the country for the next couple of years to come. So, how have you been able to carry the young people along in your quest to get to the Senate?
You see, wherever I am, or wherever I have been, I've been a lover of people. And right from when I was much younger, I noticed that the youths of this country have never been given their dues or taken seriously. I have an NGO which was registered about 15 years back.
Wow.
That's the name of the NGO is Save Our Women and Youths. Because these two groups in this country are endangered species. We are never consulted. We are never taken seriously. Nothing about us, the women and the youth. Nothing about us. Be it politics, be it education, be it health, whatever you think. Nobody cares about us. Nobody thinks seriously about us. So I've always carried along women and youths. Even in the Catholic Church, I am patron of the diocesan youths.
Wow.
They made me patron at one time in my life.
So now you talked about something here. You said in decision making.
Yes.
At all levels.
Most levels.
Women and youths are not carried along.
Yes.
Now, your quest of going to the National Assembly, how do you hope to change this, considering the fact that this is something that is embedded in most of our cultural and traditional beliefs and setup? How do you intend to use your position, if elected, to alter this current scenario?
Do you know that there are laws which Nigerians have signed, but they have not been skated? It's not only the women, the 35% affirmation. And when you talk about culture, are we the only people that have culture? Some other African countries that had this culture are changing for the good. Some of them are already having 50%, 50-50 in their legislation.
Yeah, but you know that this has to do with orientation and even education.
Yes, it does too. And one of my songs, there was a time when women were not considered, but time has come when we should all rise up and say that we have arrived. Because if you think about it seriously, most homes are run by women.
True.
Before, in this country, talking about culture, if a woman does not have a male child, she's not taken seriously in her husband's place. They can even ask her to go any day. Sweep her out because she didn't have a male child. But these days, that's changing. So these cultures have to change. They have to change. And it's changing anyway. I'm happy it's changing because right now, any family that doesn't have a daughter feels that something is really wrong. I'll give you my own personal example. My father told me one day, some policemen came and took him because they were had a girl, and he was praying that I should be a boy because my senior sister was a girl, the one that did medicine that is in the US. So that when he came in and was told, oh, it's another girl, that he felt so bad. He felt like leaving me and my mother in the hospital and walked away and was saying that God was very unfair to him. But that, do I know that today, that I am one child he gave out a marriage that he did not. He hated giving me out in marriage to begin with. And that I'm one child that as he's dying, because at the time he was 91, he said as he's leaving this world, he wished that I was a boy. He was now not wishing that I was a boy, because in the first instance, if I was a boy, during the war, my age mates went to war and I would have been killed. That most of my cousins who were males did not come back from that war. And secondly, that is there anything that a man does in that family that I don't do? That he has to be grateful to God. And this is applicable to most families. You find that the girls are taking on responsibilities. When you train a girl properly, she takes on so much responsibilities. It's not only going to her marriage home to take care of. He takes care of her own biological home.
Wow, wow. It's quite an experience. I have a daughter, so I can sort of relate to what you're talking about.
Yes.
Now, but let's take a quick break. And when we come back, there are certain national issues that I want to get your opinion about, especially with relation to the office you're therein for. And a lot is happening now. Nigerians are crying all across the country because of the new CBN policy and all of that. So I'd like to get your view on all of that in just a moment.
Hi, welcome to another day in the life of a Gen Z still living in Nigeria. Emphasis on still living in Nigeria, because this country has a way of testing your mental health on a daily basis. It is quite sad, but I have decided to keep breathing, and I hope you do same. At this point, I feel everyone in this country needs to go in for some sort of therapy. And that reminds me, I'm doing therapy this year, but I am not picking a Nigerian therapist because that's a topic for another day. Okay, that's it.
The Abia State Election Debate Team has announced an adjustment to the schedule of the ongoing election debate, as candidates and political parties have also adjusted their programs following the recent passing of the PDP flag bearer. The new schedule is as follows: Abia North Senatorial Zone, Friday, February 3rd, 2023. Abia Central Senatorial Zone, Saturday, February 4th. Abia South Senatorial Zone, Tuesday, February 7th. Deputy Governorship Debate, Tuesday, February 14th. Governorship Debate, Wednesday, February 15th. Participating candidates and political parties had to take note of the new schedule. For inquiries, call 0806 464 8667 or 0806 356 8266. Announcer, organizers, Abia State Election Debate Team.
Celebrating your family and friends has become cheap like a cup of tea, easy as ABC, and rapid like it should be. You can send birthday greetings and goodwill messages on Rapid FM for just 1,000 naira. Other events like weddings, child dedication, housewarmings, religious and government functions go for even less, 500 naira. Now, your loved ones have no excuse not to celebrate you rapidly on your day, because all they have to do is visit our website at www.rapidfm965.com/request or call 07049 220965.
Let's talk politics, dynamics, and permutations.
It is a concern that we have for our country, Nigeria. This is beyond partisan politics. It's unfortunate. And these are the kind of people who say they are leaders of this country. What example are they showing as leaders of the country?
Let's keep you abreast with the happenings in the polity.
Nigeria is on drip and on oxygen. And how can we get out of this?
I am an employer of the president. I pay the president's salary. I pay the bills of his family, and he must protect me.
Standpoint. The center of all talks of politics.
Standpoint, Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. on Rapid 96.5 FM, Umahia.
More Nigerian is more Nigerian than any Nigerian. That's right.
All right, it's just about the halfway mark, 30 minutes past the hour mark of 10, and you are still listening to Standpoint on Rapid 96.5 FM, the sound of your city. I am Kamian John, the beloved, formerly known as the controversial, and for the past 20-25 minutes thereabout, I have been speaking with Barrister Caro Okorafor of the of APGA, yes, the All Progressive Grand Alliance, and she among several other candidates, is vying for the senatorial position in Abia North, and she's led us into a bit of her person, her upbringing and background, but most importantly, what we have taken in the last 20-25 minutes is the fact that she is a dogged person, ready to be able to deliver on the mandate of the people, and is willing to ensure that the security situation in Abia North becomes a thing of the past. Once again, Barrister Carol, it's good to have you.
Thank you.
You know, now as I said before we went on that break, I wanted to pick your thoughts on a number of issues. Let's start with the most prevalent one now across the country. The fact that the CBN has come out with a new policy, of course, the redesign of the Naira, but the disturbing videos we have seen across social media is worrisome. The fact that you have people sleeping at ATMs in a bid to get this new Naira notes, and unfortunately not even being able to get the money. We're seeing people losing their minds, going stark naked in banking halls, people fighting. You know, it's as if we've gone back to the Stone Age, simply because of the policy of cashless policy, redesign of the Naira. Now you're vying for Senate.
Yeah.
What changes would you make? What position would you take on the floor of the Red Chamber, considering this development?
It is rather unfortunate what is happening. And it is, to say the least, worrisome. It's either those who conceived the idea of changing the Naira notes did not give it enough thought, at least about the timing, or that we are just in this country as usual, having square pegs in round holes, having people who do not know what to do, doing things that should not be done by people who don't have the right minds. You see, I blame both the executive arm and the legislative arm, because enough thought should have been should have gone into all this. People should have anticipated what was going to happen with all this. In the first instance, whoever has the side functions in the legislature of overseeing what happens in CBN should certainly go and hang their faces in shame.
The legislators will argue,
yes,
that they put up quite a fight.
What fight did they put up? What?
One, in the extension of the return of the old notes.
I think that was even part of the things that caused the wahala, the last bit of what we are saying. Because maybe, I'm saying maybe, because I don't know, I can't tell you that I am very much abreast of what they did.
Yeah.
But if that thing had ended on the 31st, at least we would have known that the new ones would come into circulation. Isn't it? That was what we were promised.
Yeah.
So we were all struggling to put the old notes out of our hands and into the government's hands.
Yes.
Having done that, they promised us that after that we will be getting the new notes for from the banks. But it does appear, I am not too sure, that the banks do not even have the new notes, because that is the problem. That is
the banks. Some banks have complained of the scarcity.
Not some. Almost every bank I have gone into said they were giving 500,000. How far would that go? They were giving in Arochukwu that I went to. They were giving 10,000
as the maximum withdrawal.
And you have to get it from the ATM. Suppose I don't have an ATM card, so I should go hungry from 31st until God knows thy kingdom come. Does it make sense to anybody? And the CBN governor should also resign in a place where things are done properly. With what has happened or what is happening, if they didn't anticipate all this, then they are not worth staying in that office. That's my view. Because Nigerians are really, really suffering. And incidentally, they tell us, that's what we hear. They tell us that they are trying to do us, that they are trying to shakemate some people who have so much of the old notes. Are they doing that? They are the ones who already have the new notes, filling their houses with it again. Because most of them own banks or have friends that own bank. They get these things from CBN while we queue up for days and nights in the banks.
Barrister Carol.
Yes?
As a senatorial aspirant, what would you say is the value of life of a Nigerian?
Nothing. That's nothing. Nobody values life in this country. And that is why people would go and sell their consciences and sign off the money that belongs to all of us just to get 1% of it. Because that is what happens here. You see people stealing oil that the 10th generations of their line will not be able to finish using. Meanwhile, the person next door to you in the village is starving.
So how do we change this? Because we know the value of the life of an American.
Yes, we
God
do.
forbid something happens right now in Umuahia. The special forces will come in, pick the American and go. Same thing with the Germans, same thing with the Israelis. But the question, I as a Nigerian ask is, what is the value of the life of a Nigerian?
But it wasn't like this before. Growing up.
So how did it change?
I don't know. Ask them. Ask some of these politicians, because I think they started it. Since 1999, a lot has changed. A lot has changed in this country. I went to school in Nsukka. In my final year, I had several interviews, but I had 3 appointment letters. That trend would have continued. But for people's selfishness, greed.
So how do we change this, considering the fact that we're just counting days or weeks to the presidential
I think most people that have been in power in this country should go and rest. They've disappointed us. If you had anything to do with leadership in this country, you should really not be presenting yourself for another election. That's my small candid opinion, because they have not done well. We just went down the scale like running water. We came down like this.
But do we, in more developed and civilized societies,
yes,
they have systems and structures that throw up the best candidates for leadership, especially when it has to do with public office? Do we have those structures here? Because we play a politics of party and money.
Let me tell you what happened. I told you my mother was in politics. Then, what really changed in this country was, before 1999, when the military, from 1966, when the military came on board, they tried having elections 2 or 3 times. And each time, the thing was truncated at one point or the other. So with time, before it used to be people who were really interested in their people who came out for politics. After those trials, a lot of people lost interest and stayed out of it when they were now doing their 1999 elections. A lot of good people say, they want to go and waste their time and their money again, and nothing will happen. So you find that most people that went into that election were not worth going there in the first instance. And when they now got there, they found how lucrative the thing is and decided to cage the political class only among themselves. So when you try, this is not the first time I'm coming out for politics. Since I retired in 2002, I have tried. It was after 2007 that I decided it was not something meant for me. And my God didn't want me to get there.
But you're back.
Yes, I'm back. And this time around, God will put me there.
But how do you intend to contend in a society where the politics is about party and money?
If you watch, let me be frank with you, some people are no more in that party thing. There are some communities I had gone to. They say, talk for yourself. we've read your CV, we've read your antecedents, and we think we will support you. But talk about yourself. Don't talk to us about your party. People have said that to me. Some communities have said that to me.
Despite the fact that that party was founded by someone who is highly revered in Igbo land.
Yes, some of them have said they will not vote. They will not. That they are looking at candidates now, particularly the churches. I will tell you that because there is one church group, ACC. The people that have endorsed are from different parties. I am from ABGA. There is somebody in my locality who is from APC that they've endorsed. They said they are not looking at parties anymore. They are looking at individuals. If they think that you are God-fearing and you have the capacity, they will support you. Some people are doing that, even though that some of us are still, because fortunately for ABGA, the candidates we choose are good candidates. Most of our candidates, I will not say all, because you know that even Christ had a Judas among his apostles.
True.
So I will not say all. I cannot stay in this studio and tell you that every ABGA candidate is very good, but most ABGA candidates are good and trustworthy.
Okay, at this point, we'd like to open the phone lines. As you know, this conversation is live and interactive. You can be part of the conversation. I would like to hear from people from Abia North, most especially, who, want to engage their prospective senatorial candidate, because we have Barrister Carol Okorafor of ABGA in the studio. She was here during the debates last week, and she did expose a lot of aspects of her manifesto. At this point in time, I know politicians are very careful about their manifestos. You know the numbers to call: 091 60 333 965 and 091 60,000 965, and you get to be part of the conversation here on Standpoint. And of course, you can also engage us via our social media handles on Twitter, Instagram, and of course Facebook, and it's at Rapid965. Okay, Rapid965 on Twitter. Instagram is at Rapid965FM. Same thing on Facebook, Rapid965 FM. All right, don't forget the numbers to call: 091 60 333 965 and of course 091 60,000 965. All right, so Barrister Carol, if we look critically at what is going on, just over the weekend, the PDP had its primaries. Some are celebrating the outcome, while some are challenging the outcome. Even the principal, your gubernatorial flag bearer, has had his fair share of debacles. Are these supposed to be part of the process to fine-tune our politics especially going into the elections? Let's hear from this caller before you react to that question. Hello, good morning. Hello. Yes, good morning. I can't seem to be hearing you. Hello, are you there? Okay, you can speak up. Let's hear your name and where you're calling from. Orientation Minister. Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. Let's hear from this other caller. Good morning. Oh, good morning. Okay. Let's, while we're waiting for the calls, yes, your reaction. As I said earlier, are all this part of the process that will fine-tune our political system so that going into this election, we begin to see credible candidates, run for public office?
Sometimes it's good to have agreements. I was in PDP before. That was where I started my political career.
Why did you leave the PDP?
Oh, they were just a party that was not doing anything right. It's true. Yes, they were not doing anything right. I left in 2007.
Okay, let's see if we can pick this call. Hello, good morning. Hello.
Morning.
Yes, good morning. Your name and where you're reaching us from?
Yeah, I'm speaking. My name is Nyamba Kwe. I'm from Mahia.
Okay, please go ahead.
I'm from Abia North.
Okay, good. So you have Barrister Carol Okorafor, who's running for Senate for Abia to represent Abia North. Do you have a question for her?
Okay, yes. What I want to ask is the security problem in Abia North, particularly as it affects the youths.
Yes.
And the women. She has already made it clear that there is security or a text that the woman can infuse in the development and the taking care of insecurity if in the Senate House to push in a bill law that will make things begin to work out well.
Yeah.
I would like her to highlight it more to the understanding of Abia North people.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, Barrister Carol.
Yeah.
He wants you to highlight specific steps you would take with regards to the subject of insecurity, which you highlighted as well in your constituency in Abia North. That he acknowledged the fact that yes, you will need the support of both the women and the young people. But what are the precise steps you would take in addressing that issue?
Besides the law aspect of proposing bills, aspect of it, the second one. Part of the insecurity we have in Abia North is because the youths are very restive. And they are so because either they are sent out of school or that they have no jobs or they have no work to do. Some of them could not go to school. And so they roam about in the villages, constituting security threats to everybody. They go break into houses, all that. When we get our youths properly engaged, we will stop the insecurity, particularly the ones that is coming from within. Don't mind the ones that
is external.
At least let us tackle the one that is internal. For instance, why would a child not be restive when his parents has paid for him to study in the university, and for 7 months he's in the house? What do you expect him to do?
Let's hear from this caller. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Your name and where you're reaching us from?
All right. My name is Owoko Chidebe. I'm representing from Agoberi in Bende, LGA. Good morning to your guests in the studio.
Good morning.
God bless you, ma. Yes, Mommy, I've been able to hear as it has to do with the things you desire to do for the people of Abia North. Yeah, it's good. I was in the studio last week that you people came for debate and all the rest of them. But I want to ask you a question, ma.
Go ahead.
If you're a candidate of Abia, and it happened that you have another candidate in the person of Ebele Nwankwo who has endorsed
the other candidate in another political party, does it really show that he does not believe in you? Because if you are from the same place with Senator Mahu Abunwa, I think you people can easily have one-on-one talk, and also the same unit. Instead of dividing the vote of Aruchukwu and all that. Mommy, you are a good person. I was able to listen to you. I heard things you have in stock for the people and all the rest of them. But if I am to say, Mommy, why not step down for Senator Mahu Abunwa and join force with Senator Mahu Abunwa? Because somebody told us, in the person of Senator Joseph Okalo, that we don't have network in Aganot. And he let us know that he brought Ruga that has begun to Ruga everybody in Aganot, including the truth, and we are no longer comfortable. You cannot tell me that somebody can not comfortably travel from Umahia to Umunoch, even on Hockey.
Okay.
So if we are fighting this particular canker woman in Aganot, we should join hands together. Mommy, I am pleading with you. You are a good candidate. But why not step down and join forces with Senator Mahu Abunwa in order for us to fight this canker woman in Aganot? Thank you.
Thank you.
So, can I ask you a question? Why would I step down for Senator Mahu Abunwa, who had gone to represent us before and didn't do well? Are you listening to the question?
He's off, but I'm sure he's listening to
You see, you cannot be asking me to step down for Mao when Mao has not done well. If he did well, people will not be crying. They will not be asking for a change. And that is why I am insisting that I should be given a chance to see whether I cannot do better than both of them put together.
Okay, this subject of insecurity is seriously okay.
Yes.
Let's hear from this caller. Hello, good morning. Good morning. Hello.
I hear him.
Hello.
I'm not hearing him.
Okay, let me see what. Hello. Yes, can you speak up now? Oh, yes, we can hear you. Please go ahead. Your name and where you're reaching us from. Okay, Doctor. Okay.
I want to say something. I think that people need to understand that Senate is not where kiddies blow. We have to look at issues. We don't have personality.
Okay.
Barrister mentioned about insecurity. First of all, madam, as a lawyer, you know that it's not the job of Oji Uzokalo to bring security to Aganot. It's the responsibility of the governor of Abia State, who has taken us to secure your life, to secure your property, to secure my life and secure property. What we have done is to make sure that we came to Abia State, we came to Aganot, and did the right things that were supposed to be done. Go to your own house. There is no clothes that we have not touched. Go to your own house. In your own village, we are starting a catalytic grass processing plant in our
You are starting.
Dr. Maduka, I think it's more about tackling the issue than reeling out what you've done.
The roads we are constructed, facilitated for the construction by Senator in our kingdom. I'm not talking about Umunoch. I'm not talking about Bed. I'm not talking about Hampshire. I'm not talking about Isweto. But in our what I am very hard to do.
Okay, Doctor. Let's allow Barrister to react to what you've said.
Okay. In the first instance, I'm happy you are telling us. I'm happy you are telling us about roads that are constructed by us local. But you even started by reminding me that it is not the work of a legislator to build roads or to talk about insecurity or security. Please, I would not have mentioned Ojos or Carlos being about insecurity, but he publicly has claimed that he brought Ruga to Abia State, and it is the Ruga, even according to the last caller, that has brought so much insecurity to Abia North. He claims it publicly. It's not a secret matter. Everybody has heard Ozo saying that he brought Ruga to Abia State and to Abia North. So you cannot exonerate him from the fact that the insecurity is traceable to him. You cannot.
Traceable to Ruga.
And also to Joseph, who said he brought them. He claimed that he brought them publicly. So, and when did you start building these roads in Arochukwu? Ojos Ochalo has been there for the past 3.5 years. How come it is in the last year that all these roads are springing up left, right, and center? And some of these roads are going to be washed away in the first rain. Please, let us be more civilized. Let us be more truthful to ourselves and to the people we represent.
Well, Barrister, time is quickly running out of us. Like they say, time is not our friend. For the next minute or two, I want you to talk to people of Abia North.
Yes.
And convince them why on that fateful day they should come out in their numbers and change the status quo, as it were, because that is exactly what you're propagating.
Yes.
Change the status quo and give Barrister Carol Okorafor of APGA the mandate to represent them.
Good people of Abia North, you have tried sending people in the past to the Senate, but you are all still complaining. At least most of us are still complaining. Abia North is very undeveloped. We need to have a sense of belonging, not just to Abia State, but to Nigeria. We are mainly agricultural people. We grow food, so we need roads. Not roads that will wash out in 1 week or 1 month, 1 year. We need people to sit down and attract, if you are a legislator, because I know that it is not my work to build roads, but I should be able to attract roads that will be built properly for our people. I should also be able to attract medical care, medical facilities, the equipment of our hospitals, the sending of good staff, doctors and nurses to man our health facilities. Because most places in Abia North, if anybody is really seriously sick, the person will not survive. So please, and please, we need to find jobs for our people, for our youths. We need to do that. And it is only a caring mother, because I am a caring mother, I should be able to address some of these issues. If not, some of them by legislation, but where I cannot do it by legislation, I should be able to lobby. And being a mother, God has given us that gift to be able to lobby. And again, the oversight functions and the money that is given for your constituency projects, I promise you people, it will be judiciously and completely, not halfway, completely devoted to those. And I will not build you people what you do not want, because some of us might not need roads, some might need hospitals, some might need good markets for their children, for the trading of the agricultural products we have produced. Like I said earlier, we do a lot on agricultural products. So we might need markets. We might need whatever a community needs is what I should give to them, or what we should agree and build for them. Not one day before elections, I'll come and build roads. I'll come and give water, even when the streams are so close. I promise you people a better representation. So vote for me on the 25th of February and you will see the difference. That much I promise.
Thank you, Barrister Carol. As I said, time not really our friend. We really appreciate that you could make our time to be on this edition of Standpoint. And I believe that the people of Abia North definitely will decide come the fateful day as to who they believe will represent them and bring the dividends of democracy their way. So thank you so much for making it.
You're welcome. Thank you. I'm happy to be here. I will.
All right, that's it on Standpoint. Up next is Newslight, and remember, it's the sound of your city, Rapid 96.5.
Newslight on Rapid 96.5 FM.
President Mohammed